Hello, you're watching the news from Kazakhstan. I'm Askar Shirliyev, and these are the top stories. Over 100 Kazakh citizens are stuck in Europe due to poor weather. A similar situation is observed on the highways back at home. The arrest of former Health Minister Jaksilek Doskaleyev is extended to another 4 months. The case will soon reach the court. The ceremony of lighting the main torch of Asian Winter Games is rehearsed in Almaty. Over 100 Kazakh citizens are stuck in the London Heathrow airport for already 4 days due to abundant snowfall. National air carrier Air Astana is trying to get passengers home using flights of other companies. 48 people returned to Almaty on Wednesday. Others will likely be back by Christmas. Air Astana spokesperson Zhanna Badaubayeva says the situation in Heathrow remains complicated as the company was not able to secure rooms for all Kazakh passengers since all nearby hotels are packed. The victims of the adverse weather conditions are given food vouchers. However, it is hard to cash them due to the overcrowding in the airport. It is estimated that 400,000 people are stuck in airports in the UK, France and Germany because of bad weather. Around 6,500 flights were cancelled in between December 18th and 22nd. We understand and share all the inconveniences of passengers since the company is also sustaining financial losses and now has to cover additional expenses. Of course, we will do everything possible to bring the passengers back. Kazakh President Nursultan Nazarbayev congratulated his Belarusian colleague Alexander Lukashenko with a decisive presidential victory already recognized by Kazakhstan as legitimate. While describing the election process in Belarus, Senate Chairman Kassym-Jomart Tokayev said the voting was organized very well with consideration of the population's will. Kazakh Speaker was appointed the OSCE Deputy Chief of Mission for the elections observation. At the same time, the US and Europe do not recognize Lukashenko's victory, saying the elections didn't correspond to the OSCE standards. Washington even asked Belarusian authorities to release over 600 oppositionists arrested during the riots in the capital. Kazakhstan chose to ignore this information. At the working session, observers from the OSCE mission expressed criticism, although some remarks were subjective, which I pointed out to my colleagues and asked them to be less biased. Kazakh oppositional politician Jasaral Kuanyshalin, who recently announced his intention to run for presidency in 2012, believes Tokayev's opinion is partial as well. Kuanyshalin says President Nazarbayev was too quick to praise the elections in Belarus and Tokayev was forced to follow suit. It would be surprising if Tokayev said something else. This was a statement of an ordinary Kazakh bureaucrat working as the head of the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly and involved as an observer during these elections. The new look at history. Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin attributed the victory in the World War II to Russia. He mentioned this twice at the last week during the recent meeting with football fans and on December 16th while talking live with the citizens of the country. Unsurprisingly, the reaction of the former republics of the USSR was mixed. The World War II victory as a joint historic, political and spiritual heritage of the CIS nations, said Vladimir Putin in his Victory Day speech on May 9, 2005. 4 years later, in September 2009, he said the canvas of the history is not a cheap reproduction which can be retouched bocce. The latest statement of the premier, first addressed to Russian citizens and then repeated almost word for word to football fans, was met with mixed reaction by the brothers-in-arms of the Great Patriotic War. If we refer to statistics, we will see that the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic sustained most of the losses during the World War II, over 70% of the overall figure. I don't mean to offend anyone, but the war was clearly won, above all, by means of Russia's human and industrial resources. This is a historical fact. Putin's remarks provoked a strong reaction across the former USSR. Ukrainian ex-president Viktor Yushchenko said Putin humiliated fellow trenchmates and nations. Premier's quote was also unwelcomed in other CIS countries, judging by numerous message board posts. In the meantime, Russian historians are trying to downplay the matter. Everyone knows about the war feats of China or our soldiers from Kazakhstan. There are many heroes of the Soviet Union among them. I believe the glory will never be written off from the pages of history. The former first secretary of Kazakhstan's Communist Party, Sirik Balsyn Abdildin, was shocked by Putin's statement. He said he was really disappointed by the Russian premier.
Никто не оспаривал, что главную роль сыграла тогда Россия и российский народ.
No one disputes that Russia and Russian nation played the primary role. However, I believe it is wrong for Putin to calculate each individual effort. I didn't expect this from Putin. I always thought he was quite a moderate politician and one of the leaders of the modern era. Still, by any large, this was a silly answer. Abdildin says Kazakhstan and other republics made sustainable contributions to the World War II victory. More than 1 million soldiers from Kazakhstan were drafted, about 500 later awarded the title of Hero of Soviet Union, with 4 receiving the honor twice. Abdildin feels Putin's remark is an odd muscle flexing after the recent events in the Manege Square. This just didn't look like something Putin would do. In any case, he probably wants to flex his muscle, hinting that in case national minorities in Russia will raise their heads, Russia will deal with it. This is the big mistake on the part of Vladimir Putin. The financial police will extend the arrest terms for former health minister Jaksilik Duskaliyev to 4 months, said on Wednesday the agency head Kairat Kojamzharov. The official revealed the investigation is already done with several episodes and the case will soon end up in the court. The arrest warrant to former health minister Duskaliyev could be extended for another 4 months, said the head of the anti-corruption department Kairat Kojamzharov on Wednesday. The official revealed the investigation of several episodes is practically complete, while the condition of the accused is stable and he is already giving his testimonies. We only have to obtain several expert evaluations. I think we will transfer the case to court within the term stipulated in the law. In the meantime, Duskaliyev's lawyers say the case of their client is ready for transfer to court, with the trial possibly starting next month. The former minister already finished testifying on at least one episode related with the building of the First Aid Research Institute. Duskaliyev is pleading not guilty, saying he will actively defend himself since he has all the necessary arguments. Our client will not just use general statements but refer to specific documents and facts while giving full reasoning. Lawyers were not told when the next interrogation will take place. In turn, Jaksilik Duskaliyev appealed to the investigation group, asking them to limit questioning to no longer than 3 hours per session. In contrast to the financial police chair, who said Duskaliyev feels fine, the officials' lawyers still say the condition of their client is fragile. He is constantly monitored by doctors and walks only using crutches. A stroke must be followed by special exercises to work on the limbs, and Duskaliyev is trying to do that. He uses a crutch to lean and stretch his arm. The lawyers filed a complaint to the Prosecutor General describing violations of criminal code made during the investigation. In their appeal, they insist the prosecution of Jaksilik Duskaliyev is illegal. The former health minister is charged on several accounts, including for financial fraud. Kojamzharov also talked about details of another high-profile case. Apparently, the financial police suspended the investigation in relation of 3 shareholders of Kazakh Gold, who also serve as top managers of Polus Zolota. According to the head of the financial police, the case is postponed due to the investigation waiting for an audit report from Russia on several financial documents. The criminal case was instigated by the anti-corruption agency in July against 3 top managers of Polus Gold on suspicion of fraudulent purchase of Kazakh Gold shares in the amount of $187 million. Upon the arrival of these documents, we will make the final procedural decision. Before the sale, the Kazakh company went through an audit, and we are now interested to study these and other financial documents. On Tuesday, President Nazarbayev admitted the country has a problem with state raiding and strictly forbade law enforcement agencies to intervene in the activities of private businesses. Symbolically, on the same day, the parliament passed the bill on the introduction of criminal liability for legal entities. The MPs say the document practically legalizes corporate raiding. Unexpectedly to everyone, President Nazarbayev admitted that state raiding is thriving in Kazakhstan, and then even named several financial policemen who illegally intervening in others' businesses. The head of state ordered the leadership of the prosecutor's office and interior ministry to personally protect the activities of domestic enterprises from government attacks. I want to appeal to Prosecutor General and Interior Minister. Stand up if you are here now. This way I protect business for 19 years. The question is, what is a prosecutor or policeman or especially a security agent is doing at the enterprise? The tax inspection should work on revealed violations of tax legislation. Officers of Nazarbayev's blacklist have no place in government service. 24 agents have been fired already for illegal interference in others' business activities. The financial police leadership hastily admits the actions of personnel were not always lawful. Thus, the purging of the agents' ranks is already underway. In this sense, the agency takes all efforts to assure our ranks are clean and the personnel have no problems with the law. In the meantime, the government approved the amendments introducing criminal liability for legal entities. This surprised the MPs, as the innovation will hurt businessmen. All measures of influencing legal entities are reflected in the Administrative Violations Code. Any entity can be forced into closing if so desired, and law enforcers doing exactly that right now. Then a fine is treated like compensation. I feel this will be a legalized raiding law. The bill will have to pass through the second reading, Senate and President signing. Only then it will become clear how the President really treats business in the country. A committee for the protection of Sergei Utkin has been set up in Kazakhstan. The well-known lawyer is charged with evading taxes for the amount of $34,000 and could face up to 2 years in prison. The Committee for the Protection of Sergei Utkin was joined by the former Supreme Court Judge Utigen Ikshanov, lawyer Yuriy Usov, lawyer of the Public Association Talmas Denis Alimbekov, and many other representatives of NGOs from Astana, Atyrau and Aktau. The committee is headed by the president of Aman Saulik Fund, Bahit Tumenova. Activists say the case against Utkin is politically motivated, as the authorities are trying to eliminate an undesired civil rights advocate, just like what was done with another prominent human rights activist, the head of Kazakh Human Rights Bureau, Yevgeny Zhovtis, who was imprisoned for 4 years for a fatal car accident. The imperfection of the law is used against Sergei Utkin because today he is an undesired civil rights advocate like Zhovtis, who protected people the authorities do not recommend to protect. The Committee for the Protection of Vladimir Kozlov, the leader of the unregistered party Alga, who is also charged with evading taxes, continues to seek government permission to picket state organizations across Kazakhstan. The authorities of Astana already declined the request for a rally next to the city administration and offices of the ruling party Nuratan. Officials told party members they can hold the protest actions only on the outskirts of the city, the place that hosted little-noticed rallies of mortgage holders and defrauded real estate investors during the recent OSCE summit. The Committee for the Protection of Vladimir Kozlov had already filed applications practically in all regions of the country asking for permission to hold peaceful rallies next to the offices of tax agency and local administrations. The large-scale campaign is accompanied by the collection of signatures in support of the Algas leader. Activists believe the case against Kozlov is a form of political pressure. The pickets are planned for December 23rd. The financial police, city administration and ruling party Nuratan all reject our appeals. That is why we decided to come here, since we are prohibited to collect signatures. Our information campaign for the protection of Vladimir Kozlov is held for already 3 days. We feel the court's decision is unfair, thus we want the population to know about the situation. Many people understand us and signed the petition. Wednesday marked exactly 1 year since the death of Gennady Pavlyuk. The famous Kyrgyz journalist was thrown out of the 6th-floor window of an apartment block in Almaty and later died in a hospital without regaining consciousness. A few days ago, the police arrested Aldiyar Ismankulov, a former agent of Kyrgyz Secret Services. Radio Liberty reported he is suspected in involvement in Pavlyuk's murder case. On December 16, the spokesman for the Kyrgyz Prosecutor General said the trial should take place in Kazakhstan, since that is where the incident took place and where the suspect was arrested. Kazakh Interior Ministry reluctantly comments the matter. We cannot share any information at the moment, since the investigation is still underway. The official information will be released at appropriate time. The Kyrgyz Prosecutor General will ask Kazakh authorities to extradite Aldiyar Ismankulov, as he is involved in a case launched back in 2006. Members of the Fund Journalists in Trouble, Andrei Sviridov, says that the political elite of Kyrgyzstan wants to see the unbiased investigation, never forgetting about Pavlyuk. On October 8, the memorial in his honor will be opened in Bishkek. Sviridov believes that in this sense Kazakhstan should follow the example of its neighbor, since the OSCE chair is heavily criticized for closing newspapers, multi-million-dollar lawsuits, beatings, unfair verdicts to journalists and even murders. We still remember murders of oppositional journalists, usually through car accidents, in Almaty in 2002 and 2005. We have 5 such indisputable cases. Nothing was done about it in the last 8 years. This is it for now. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow for more. Goodbye.